Hey guys, I'm out of town right now, so the audio is gonna sound a little different, but whatever, fuck it, here's a Quickie review. So I just saw The Snowman, and it was pretty bad. And who would have expected with director Thomas Alfredson giving interviews trying to explain why the film sucked so much before the movie was even released? That is a promising selling point if I've ever seen one. Apparently this film was supposed to be directed by Martin Scorsese, who then switched to executive producer, and when Thomas Alfredson showed up after the film was already in production, everything was so rushed that they forgot to shoot 10 to 15% of the movie, and instead of shooting the rest, they just decided to try and fix it through editing. Needless to say, all of this got me pretty excited to see this movie, because I sure do love my train wrecks. I was curious to see just how badly things could get so fucked up, and to my surprise, not everything was a disaster. The movie actually had some scenes with some great cinematography, particularly a lot of the shots following vehicles. There were quite a few moments where I thought, wow, that looks really cool, but unfortunately all of that was ruined by shitty color correction. The color grading in this film reminded me of a DC superhero movie. Everything was way too dark. It all just felt very unnatural. Pretty much any part of this film that expected you to be creeped out or scared was really unintentionally funny. I just wish that these scenes took up most of the film so that it was more entertaining, because the lack of self-awareness this film has is incredibly interesting, to say the least. I mean, look at this fucking poster. Is this seriously supposed to be scary? How could a marketing department look at this and not realize how hilarious it is? They seriously used this derpy face as promotional material for a thriller movie, and whenever we see one of these shitty drawings in the film, the camera lingers on it as though we're supposed to be creeped out by it. The killer also makes real snowmen with the same derpy face, and once again, the shot just lingers as they play this musical cue as though they're expecting us to be scared. Like, oh no, how ominous and creepy. I mean, it's even right there in the film's IMDb description. Detective Harry Hole investigates the disappearance of a woman whose pink scarf is found wrapped around an ominous-looking snowman. Shouldn't it say derpy-looking snowman? Like, if we're trying to be objective, it's way more derpy than it is ominous. This stupid fucking face. Man, this is so scary. You know, if Thomas Alfredson looked at this source material and thought, maybe I should transform this into a comedy, then it might have actually worked. I mean, our main character's name is Harry Hole. It really seems as though it should have been a comedy. There's parts where the killer is awkwardly dancing to catchy music, and it seems as though we're supposed to be creeped out, but it's really funny. There were also parts in the film where the killer just seemed to warp around to whatever the script thought was convenient. Like, you just threw a snowball from behind this woman, how did you get in that vehicle in front of her? How'd you do that? It's just unfortunate that the majority of this film is really boring. It doesn't really give you much to care about, and by the end of the film, I don't think I really fully understood the killer's motives. Perhaps that was somewhere in that 10 to 15% they were talking about. Now, since I know most of you probably don't want to watch this movie anyway, I'm going to talk about the ending, but just in case, here's a spoiler warning, so click to this point in the video if you don't want to hear anything about it. There's your warning. 3, 2, 1. Now, most of the film was just boring nothing with the occasional unintentional humor here and there, but the climax of this film was so stupid and awkwardly thrown together. So the killer has two people tied up, and Michael Fassbender finds the killer and has a gun pointed at him. But even though the killer's weapon is like a retractable wire cutter, meaning he doesn't have any way of instantly killing the people he's kidnapped right now, for some reason he acts as though he has the upper hand even though Michael Fassbender is pointing a gun at him. And he's like, drop your weapon, put it on the table, and Michael Fassbender's like, okay, why didn't you just shoot him? I don't see any reason why you couldn't have done that. Aren't you supposed to be some kind of a detective or something? Would you rather he kills them and you? What's your fucking deal? So even though Michael Fassbender put his gun down on the table and now the guy actually has the upper hand, somehow Michael Fassbender manages to wrestle him and he runs away. But it all happens so quick and sloppily that I don't even understand what happened at all. It was just a bunch of close shot quick cuts, and I guess I'm just supposed to accept the end result. Like, okay, you did it somehow. So then Michael Harry Hole Fassbender takes the duct tape off of her mouth and she's like, kill him. And he just runs out into the snow after this guy and winds up on a frozen over lake. Like, you have his identity now. Where the fuck's he gonna go? Is it really that important that you chase after this murderer right now? You're not gonna wait for backup? Alright. So then he's out standing in the middle of the frozen lake yelling, where are you? Which is the equivalent of saying, hey Mr. Killer Man, why don't I make it really obvious for you where I am right now? And then he gets shot, which was really funny. So Michael Fassbender falls over and the guy just starts walking up to him slowly, delivering his "I'm the bad guy" monologue. And without any warning whatsoever, he just falls through the ice. There was no cracking noise or anything. Like, despite this entire lake being frozen over, he managed to walk on the one spot where he could fall through instantly. Like, he just happened to walk on the one unfrozen spot on the lake that was the exact width of his body, and then he literally just floats away underwater as though he's not even trying to swim. Like, he somehow died the instant he became submerged. You're not even gonna try? This doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that was pretty much the most unsatisfying way I could imagine them ending that movie. I'd just love to see this 10 to 15% of footage that could have fixed that shit. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Snowman. It doesn't even seem like I have to tell you guys not to see it because nobody fucking did. I took this photo about 5 minutes before the movie started. There was one person that sat down just as the movie was starting, but by the time it was over, they were already gone. This film had some decent music and some interesting cinematography. Michael Fassbender did a good job even though he didn't have much to work with, but overall this film was fundamentally a broken mess. And I'm giving this one a 3 out of 10.